Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is create the table to record the appointment. So I'm just going to set that up. I'm going to call it appointment. And we've got the ID. I'm going to change that to appointment ID. And what do we need to know now? Well, we need the foreign keys in there so we can show the information. This is a composite table, meaning that it's a composite of the other tables. Once we set this up, it's going to share the information between the different tables. So I'm going to have patient ID. And because the patient ID is an auto number in there, it's automatically created. We don't want to automatically generate a new number. We actually want to be able to type the number in that corresponds to the patient that we're going to book into the appointment. So if it's auto number in there, then this data type, corresponding data type, should be number, right? And it's okay to have duplicates in there because we may have to put the patient in more than once, right? So we're going to leave that as it's okay there. Next up is the doctor, so we put doctor ID, and again that's a numerical data type, and we're going to use those to connect tables together. Now don't worry about that, date is a reserved word, I've already explained that, but date, I'm going to set to date time, and the format on this I'm going to do is a short date, so that we can type it in nice and neatly, and then the time. Now the time we could actually set up as a date time field, but then the person's going to have to enter the time manually, and that can cause mistakes. So I'm actually going to create a lookup for the time. Now if you think about doctors, and if you got the hairdressers, you got a doctor, you go have an appointment with a lawyer, whichever, very often they just have 15-minute locations, right, for time. So if you go to a doctor, they probably open about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then every 15 minutes is appointment time. So you can basically just create the appointment times like so in a lookup, and then when they go to enter the data, it's going to be a lot easier for them to just pick the time. Right? It might take a little bit of a while to get this set up if you go through the whole day, but it's worth it in the end because it makes it look nicer. So I'm just going to do those as an example and click finish. So we've got the date, we've got the time. We also need to know what's wrong with the patient, so diagnoses would go in there. And I'm going to set that to long text because it might be a long description. And similarly, the treatments will also be a long description as well. Now you could put the cost in here for the doctor's visit, and that would be currency data type. And we could even set a validation rule in here to say, well, the value for the cost of the visit must be between 0 and say 500. The appointment's going to cost more than $500. So we don't want someone typing the 0 twice and putting 5,000 in by accident, for example. So we can kind of limit any errors by doing that as well. So we've got the cost of treatment, diagnosis. We've set the time from a list to look up, and we've got the dates, and we've got our foreign keys. And I'm just going to close that and save it. Why is it not saving? Okay, strange. Should be saving. Okay, we're going to try to go to database tools and build our relationship. And to do that, we have to select all our tables, choose add, close. Alright, something's going wrong here. Okay, now I've saved the appointments table. We're going to go to database tools, we're going to select relationships, and if they don't show up straight away, just choose show table, then select all 3 of them, and then close it. And I'm just going to move these around because the appointment, in my opinion, should be in the middle, as the patient will make the appointment. You can adjust the field so you can see them all like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to create our relationship. So one patient can have many appointments. They might have an appointment every week, you never know. So what we do is we click on the primary key there of this table and we drag it to the corresponding foreign key in the other table. We release the mouse, and then we have to enforce referential integrity. This is just to make sure the data in both tables is the same. And you'll also notice that the relationship type is one to many. And that means that one patient can book many appointments. So I'm going to click create there, and we can see the 1 to infinity. One patient can have many appointments. And similarly, a doctor will have many appointments during the day as well. So I can say Force referential integrity. One doctor can have many appointments. Click create. Once that's done, you close it and save it, we can then share the information between the tables. Now, one thing that's really important here is that we can't actually put an appointment in there until we have patients and doctor records, right? Because when we go to make an appointment, we have to say which patient and which doctor we're going to have the patient see. Unless we have any doctors and patients in there, we can't do that. So when we're going to enter our data, the first things we have to do is enter the data for the doctor and the patient, right? So once we've got that in, we'll just make it up. Right, let's fill in the information and do one for patient, for patient. Just make it up, right? Just to demonstrate. Now, if I close these and just save these records, if I go to appointment now, let's just open up again. Oops, again. Now I have one patient, one doctor, so I could actually select that patient and that doctor, and it's going to accept it, right? If I tried to do this without having anything in, it will come up with a message, right? It won't accept it because it'll be going, hang on, there is no doctor number 10, so therefore I can't put him in, right? So make sure that you put the data in these two before you start to do the appointment.